We're back here, Joe and Jason, on this Wednesday as we wait for Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve later this afternoon, and we'll talk about whatever they decided to do about that tomorrow. But right now, we are ignoring the move today. Silver's now up, or gold's now up $15.1960. Silver is up 35 cents. We'll round up here, 37 cents. $24.20. We have $20 gold pieces on sale. Liberties and St. Gaudens, $2,215, 1 through 9, 10 or more, $21.95. And then Silver Eagles, $7.65 for a roll of U.S. Silver Eagles. If you want a case, the green case, that's $19,000. The last time we had that price on silver was $22, which wasn't that long ago. Silver got down to $22, I think, 2-3 weeks ago. So, in theory, right, silver's over $2 higher an ounce. You should be paying $20,000 instead of $19,000 on a case. You should be paying, $785 on a roll of silver. So you're great savings both ways. But where is silver headed? Let's really take a look. And I'm not talking about inflation. Forget about inflation. Just forget about it. Let's go to what I call Economics 101, supply and demand. For the second consecutive year, silver is in a supply deficit. Matter of fact, the deficit for last year was 237 million ounces. The deficit in the last 2 years was more than all of the surpluses of the previous 11. Now, we know this. Silver, what was silver's low, Jason, in like 2018? Was it $12? Did it get 12 and change? Something like that. Yeah,
around 13. Yeah, around there. Yeah,
something like that, right? So silver's made a good move here. It's 24 and change right now. But here's what happened. These analysts thought that, hey, silver demand's going to fall because of solar. They're getting better at making it work with less silver in each panel. Every solar panel has a certain amount of silver in it. Well, guess what, guys? That happened. Today, they use 80% less. The problem is they came out last week and said, dude, that's it. We can't use any less. Matter of fact, they let everybody know that solar investment demand, get this, for all of 2023, there'll be more investment demand in solar than there will be in crude oil, and they're letting everybody know their massive supply deficit. And they went on to say, hey, and again, this is just looking into the future a little bit. And let me get to, I got to scroll my page here. By 2027, they said that just solar manufacturing alone will require more than 20% of all the silver mined in a year. So that's an increase of about 5%. That's huge. I mean, that's you don't increase silver production by 5%. It just doesn't happen. It takes years and years. You've heard Jason and I talk about silver mines, gold mines, they're the same. It takes about 10 years from the time you discover, hey, you know what, there's enough here to have a mine. There's enough here. We can do it here. It takes about 10 years from that point to where the first shovel goes into, for them to start mining. About a 10-year period. But it gets worse. Because according to these guys, and again, people in the know, right? Because remember, crude oil is now as bad as cows, right? Cows are bad, crude oil's bad, natural gas, bad. By 2050, that's not that long, a little over 25 years from today. So think about this, 2027, 20%. By 2050, they're saying it may take, ready for these numbers are crazy, 89 to 98% of silver mine production based on current production right now. In other words, the amount of silver being mined in 2023, by 2050, the solar industry alone will need all of that. And they're saying, hey, we're doing the math here. Jason, they're like, it's just, kind of like like Toyota and Ford, and they're all telling hey, we can't make every car electric by 2035. Are you nuts? Right? First of all, unless the price of the car quadruples and we make half as many, then I guess we could. This is exactly what they're saying about silver and solar. The exact same story. Guys, we can't do this. There's not enough silver to do this.
Not enough silver, Joe. Not enough silver. That's those are pretty frank numbers, right, Joe? And that 2050 seems like a long ways away, and I get that, but you can't even have solar panels taking 70% of all the silver before because it's not like solar is the only thing that's important for silver. There's a lot of other uses for silver that are going to be pulling at this commodity. So it is going to push silver prices. That's it's we'll just see how the government handles it because we knew what was it about a year or two ago. Then remember when the nickel collapsed? Remember then they had to shut off the nickel market, right. Joe, and
right.
These things are going to be coming in different commodities.
Well, the newest, most efficient solar panels, because they're always evolving. Well, guess what? So I just told you, hey, they figured out how to use 80% less silver in the panel. Guess what they figured out when they did that? We maximized the ability of the panel. Their latest panels are going back to putting more silver in. Why? Because it makes it so much more efficient. And now they're saying that the newest, greatest panels is actually going to reverse and put all the silver that they took out back into it. But of course, obviously, it'll generate a lot more power. So I guess that's the good news for the power. The great news for silver is that's even more demand. Yeah, I kind of like where silver is right now. I think it's dirt cheap. 800-951-0592. $800-951-0592. Food prices continuing to rise according to the government. All food up 6.7%. Again, that's all. When they always do this, why is it always higher than what they say the CPI is? Always. Oh, CPI is 4%. Well, food prices are up 6.7%, and this is up 8.2%, and it's always higher. But anyway, fast food restaurants. And I shouldn't say fast food. I should say restaurants. I apologize. Restaurants. Leading the way. It was for quite a while, supermarkets, the food at the supermarket was rising faster than the restaurants. Jason, that is reversed now, and now the restaurants are increasing at a rate of over 8%, while the supermarkets are at about 4%, but total between the two, 6.7%. And then we got bad news, wheat and corn. Both crops apparently being devastated. There's been either too much rain or not enough rain, depending on where you're at. Both crops, I heard Kansas is going to have the lowest wheat crop since 1957. Corn, same thing. Cocoa. Prices are up 44%. This is, these commodities. This is what I worry about with silver. Silver's been very, I would call it controlled. Right? It's up, but it's not, it's not double or triple in a year. It's not up 50% this year, as an example. I think it could be. Could have one of those moments where everybody all at once realizes, oh crap, we've got a problem. But apparently cocoa, which is up 44% in the last 9 months, is expected to get even worse. Even with the surge in price, cocoa, which is now $3,253 a metric ton, the highest going back since May of 2016. But Jason, apparently the weather not conducive for cocoa prices, so get ready. All the chocolate products are expected to go higher. Chocolate and coffee. I mean, for a lot of people, that's their entire diet.
Chocolate, coffee, and tea, they all showed up about the same time in Europe centuries ago, and it's a staple of society. And that's a significant. But I just don't. Who needs chocolate? Well, it's a staple in society. So and silver, Joe, just as a fact that people need to understand why it's such a buying opportunity. It's the only commodity in the last 3+ years that has not hit its all-time record high price. The only one. So something's wrong there, right, Joe? Something ain't right. And at some point, you can't just hold it down just because you want to hold it down, whether it be government or the silver market or whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, really, it's going to have to be economics 101. At the end of the day, the supply and demand, and I get it, right? Silver had almost a decade of surpluses. But in the last 2 years, all of that's gone and more. And this year's deficit is expected to be in the hundreds of millions of ounces, which really correlates to what we're seeing in the stocks at the exchanges, whether it's the London Metals Exchange, the COMEX Exchange, and everybody's hoping for somehow this relief to occur, that somehow the next greatest thing in technology. And I just told you, at least according to the solar industry, here's what they figured out. Hey, if we put more silver back in, we can make the panels better. So the 80% of the panels that are made today, or the panels that I said, have 80% less silver in them. All of the new panels that are coming, that are better, right? They're better conductors, right? They operate more efficiently. Have between 30 to 80% more silver in it. Jason, that's the exact opposite of what they thought was going to happen. And I think we're going to end up with one of these surprises. I don't know if it's going to be before this year is over or next year. I think all of a sudden they're going to realize, not only did silver consumption not go down in solar, it actually jumped dramatically, and that's going to cause a huge problem.
Right, and it's interesting because the people have solar panels on their house for a long time now. It's been going for a while, and I wonder if a lot of this is replacement panels. Hey, look, it's time for your replacement panel. You've had it on for a decade, 2 decades, whatever it takes before you have to replace them. And, people might be, thinking, I really don't need this expense. I just barely paid off the ones that you're replacing. But no, we got the bigger and better ones. These will last longer for you, right, Joe? And you don't have the expense of installation. You just replacement. So you put the higher powered, better ones in, and suddenly you keep your solar customers in place. Because let's face it, these solar panels, these aren't. It's not like regular electricity that's just in your house. You wire the house up, and it's good pretty much for the life of the house. These are things that have to be replaced. So that's more silver consumption. We didn't even talk about replacement, Joe. Replacement's going to be a regular rotation in the solar industry now.
I don't know. I've never had a house with solar yet, so I don't know that. But you're right. I mean, obviously, when the replacement comes around, and not only the replacement, but again, right, we know hey, they just want more solar, period. So this is something, again, it's an interesting thing. It takes time. Right? This is another one of these examples of, hey, we're in a lull period. Silver went just in the last, year or so from about $18 to $24, but it's just getting started. We're in a bit of a lull, but then the next leg is coming. Buy the lulls. There you go. Buy the lulls. 800-951-0592. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason wrapping up this Wednesday. I wonder when. And I think the real smart people already know. This whole Fed, raising rates, not raising rates, these meetings, they're absolutely worthless. They've already broken all of their rules. And this is why you're never supposed to let the bankers be in charge. Because, it wasn't that. I think our founding fathers were brilliant. They were brilliant men. No doubt about it. But when it came to the part in writing the Constitution and letting people know what money should be, it wasn't that they had this divine providence from God. It was because they had dealt with the evil bankers that broke all of their own rules and basically left them all broke and not having the resources to provide. That is why they said that the bankers can't be in charge of the money. And that's why the money needed to be gold and silver. It's really very, very simple if anybody actually wanted to learn some history. Of course, that's not what they teach you in school, okay? They teach you about a Boston Tea Party and taxation without representation. Believe me, it had to do with fiat money. That's why they said have it be gold and silver.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we'll have another show. We do that regularly where we talk about some of the history, and it's interesting because fiat currencies are all different too, Joe. It's just best to have just to keep everybody honest. And that's what gold is. It just keeps everybody honest. There's either so many ounces or there's not so many ounces. Whereas with fiat currency, even if it's a good version of fiat currency, there is better ways of doing it. I think a central bank is the worst way. You pay interest to have somebody print it for nothing. And that's what we have. We have a debt money system, and we pay every time the government and the Fed prints a bunch of money. It's bad enough that they just increase and throw money everywhere. We have to pay interest against that debt. Yeah. You have to actually pay some rich hog over there in Washington, D.C. and the big corporate interests. You have to pay them an extra fee for the privilege of borrowing their money, Joe.
Put your gold and silver away and do it today. $20 gold pieces, 1 through 9, $2,215, 10 or more, $2,195. Rolls of Silver Eagles at $765. Cases of Silver Eagles at $19,000. I'll throw the caveat out. Who knows? I have no idea what Jay Powell will say. If prices go up after the meeting, then obviously the prices will change. If they go down, maybe they'll change even lower. But we'll see. We've already ignored today's increase already. 800-951-0592. But Jason, I will say this. I am looking forward to tomorrow because I can't wait to hear what reasoning Jay Powell gives today for either action. I don't know what they're going to do, but if they pause, if they hike again, and if everybody's right that, hey, the Fed may raise one more time, but not at this meeting, the next meeting, well, then that's idiotic. They should have just raised here and then said we're pausing. But, again, we'll have fun trying to decipher what he says tomorrow. We are coming right back. We're going to have Chris Lewis with us on the Half Empty Cup. Stay with us.